John Williams, his music is just remarkable for everything. It runs the whole gamut of human emotions, which is just what any composer should be and should do. But at the same time, he's scoring for a film. And so he has to fit the music to whatever is going on screen. But at the same time, being John Williams, I think he had more idea than we did at the time that this music was going to go down in history as music, because it's real standalone music as well. We didn't know that. I mean, as far as we were concerned with the London Symphony at that time, we didn't know what this movie was. The story about the London Symphony doing Star Wars, as I remember it, and it's a long time ago, was, believe it or not, the London Symphony, we lost a tour, which I think was to Italy, my memory says. And being a self-employed orchestra, a self-governing orchestra, we're like a lot of musicians in Hollywood. We were all freelancers, essentially. Although we belonged to the London Symphony Orchestra, we were freelancers in that we just got paid a fee for whatever we did. So we lost a 3-week tour for some reason. The promoter pulled out or whatever, and it left a hole in our diary. So I think a lot of people were worried, me included, about how do we pay the mortgage and buy our groceries and so on. So we went to our music director at the time, Andre Previn, and a group of us said, what are we going to do? Is there any way, Andre, that you could use whatever influence you have to help us put a few more pages into the diary there, into the calendar? And he said, I'll make a few calls. And he called John Williams in Los Angeles, and John said, well, I have a fairly major motion picture score coming up. And he said, the production company want me to do it in London, and we have a pickup orchestra with a contractor kind of penciled. But he said, if you're telling me that the London Symphony Orchestra is free, I'm going to jump at that. He said, we're going to use that orchestra. Thank you very much. And that's how the Star Wars movies came to the LSO, as we call ourselves. And the rest of it is history, in that then John Williams wanted to do the rest of the pictures there. He also brought the first 3 Superman movies to the LSO. So there we were, working on this first Star Wars picture, and none of us knew what it was going to turn into. We were doing mainly 3 sessions a day to squeeze it all in. There was a lot of music in that picture. So we were working morning, afternoon, and evening sessions. Now, as far as Princess Leia is concerned, I remember that day so well, because we were in the studio working on things like the main title and the Imperial March and so on for the whole day. And John is very demanding. You do lots and lots and lots of takes of everything until he's satisfied that musically it's as good as it's going to get. Not just from an orchestral playing point of view, but also from John's point of view. He will keep altering notations and notes and maybe a little bit of tweaking with instrumentation until he's got it exactly as he wants. He's a very meticulous worker. For a brass player, particularly, that day was hard because the instruments were on our faces from 9 o'clock in the morning until, believe it or not, about 8:30 that evening, when we had the session break in the evening. And at the end of that break, John Williams got back onto the podium and he said, ladies and gentlemen, you're doing a marvelous job. I know this is a hard day for you, but he said, I have one more title that I would like to get in this evening. So could you give me a half hour's overtime? Okay, gasps from the brass station. And the trombones and trumpets are looking at him and saying, So John gave a little, I remember it so well, he gave a little smile, looked across at the corner where this huge brass section was sitting, and he said, "Okay guys, don't worry too much." He said, "We're going to do a little gentle number this time." And I'd had the instrument on my face all day as well. And then he looked across at me and he said, "David, I've written a little solo just for you. I hope you enjoy it." Well, in those days, the music was all copied by hand. John travelled with a team of copyists, and he would be writing until 2, 3 o'clock in the morning and then handing the score to the copyist to get that. So the orchestra had not agreed to do the overtime at that point, so we hadn't seen Princess Leia's theme. And I didn't even know it was Princess Leia's theme at that time, because the copyist came out when we agreed to do it, put the parts on the stand, and it was called something like, I don't know, Real 8 M7 or something like that. And all I knew was that John said, "I've written a little solo for you." And then the music appeared on my music stand, and John said, "Okay, we better run this." And then he kind of looked at his watch and he said, "You know, we don't have a lot of time tonight." He said, let's put the red light on. Let's do a take straight away, and we'll go listen." So, and I promise you, this is true, the first time I played that solo, I was sight reading with the red light on. And so John said, "David, let's go listen." And of course, he's listening to the music for the whole cue and also following it along with the picture. And he's got some things to say. He didn't really say much to me at all, but he sorting things out with the director and the producer. And then he just turned to me when it was time to go back into the studio, and he said, "Well, David," he said, "that's lovely. That's exactly what I had in mind. Just play it like that every time." And so that was the story of Princess Leia. I had no idea that it was going to make me even more famous than Carrie Fisher. But